Okay, apologies. We should be live again. I don't know if I accidentally hit the hang up button. I'm checking to make sure we're live. Okay. Okay, we should be good. All right. So Adam had a beautiful speech that did not get aired. My apologies. So welcome to the
Darn.
daily download. Again, I got to do my intro all over again. So the daily download, we bring your news and headlines, and it is brought to you by Ritual Motion and Rex Opportunities. Visit Ritual Motion to create and earn money off of your content, and go to the daily download at Rex Opportunities to get your daily headlines. You can click on them, learn more, all kinds of cool stuff. Okay, let's go over this again. So there's some big news in college and that we talked about last week, and it happened, the event. All right, Adam, back to you.
Yes. We talked about last week, if you guys remember, about NASCAR sponsoring a collegiate racing series or race series. They just had their first race yesterday. It was the Daytona race in conjunction with NASCAR's Daytona that happened this past weekend. And the winner was quite a bit of an upset. It's Colton is a student at Embry-Riddle I believe Aeronautical Academy or University, something in Tampa, Florida, and didn't lead the race until the last couple laps, and beat out a student from Rutgers, as well as a whole field of 40 racers who actually qualified for this race. They qualified, like we talked about, through time trials, and the top 40 across the country got to race in the official race. And that's what happened last night. You can watch the VODs over on Twitch at NACE Esports, their channel, or CSL Esports. But it was a really exciting race and really awesome. And I know it's already creating some momentum at the college and school level to garner more support for their esports programs as well as their iRacing teams. Because how cool is it that you can send a screenshot of a car that's branded for your university to your administrators, and to show like this is an activation that we can make happen, and students are qualifying and getting scholarship money. Colton, who won first place, got $3,000 in scholarship money last night. Second place got $1,000, and third place got $500. And there's 2 more races this spring. So those qualifiers, the time trial qualifiers, will open up March 7th. And then the next race, I believe, is March 24th.
Very exciting.
So it was super cool. I am sold on this collegiate iRacing thing. I think it's such a cool activation. I think it's a great way to connect with alumni, and it's also a great way to connect with potential sponsors and businesses who might have an affinity towards NASCAR. Really excited to keep watching.
Yeah, you definitely get more hyped when you talk about it than the other things.
So well, that's true. There's
Oh, there's so, again, this is our second go at this chat, but you talked about it earlier about how this is just allowing coaches to show that esports is a thing, and that
it is.
There should be money put to it, and that it's something that is viable for. And I think tapping into alumni is a great point that you have. It's like alumni are where a lot of universities and colleges get their money. Yeah. I am curious. You said he was part of an aerodynamic school.
Yeah, aeronautical. He is a aerospace engineering student, and they actually have. Helped? It probably did, because he's also on their motorsports team. So this school has a motorsports team that races real life against other schools. And he competed in the iRacing version of it, the gaming version, and won. And he has a couple other students who are in his club that helped spot while racing. I know nothing about racing, but all of this, so fascinating. I think iRacing has a greater potential for schools to get administrative support than even Rocket League. So when we talk about the sport or the esports, oftentimes schools like to use Rocket League as the way to connect what they're trying to accomplish to people who don't do gaming, because they know what's going on in Rocket League. Oh, you're trying to score. This is cool. iRacing is a hyper realistic simulator of NASCAR. And most people have watched NASCAR, not that they're fans of NASCAR, but they know exactly what's happening. And on top of that, racers get to customize their car completely. So you see the logo of your school racing against other schools, and instantly administrators and alumni can connect with that and get excited about it. So from my perspective and working with administrators at the schools I've worked at, the potential of iRacing, I think, is much higher than even Rocket League is when trying to sell the idea of esports. So
bold statement. As the person who's claimed that Rocket League is going to be the biggest esport.
Rocket League is massive. Rocket League is awesome opportunity. It's a great gateway title when we're talking about administrators, but I think iRacing even greater so.
I will say one thing Rocket League has over iRacing is it's cross-platform, so you can.
This is true, and you don't need to buy a whole racing rig to be competitive. I mean, in iRacing the user count and the viewers is astronomically lower than Rocket League, but just watching a race and showing that to administrators, I think, is going to convey what we're trying to teach as esports directors a lot better than some of the other game titles we have. So
it's very interesting. Bold claim. Bold claim.
Clip it, post it. Let's go.
There we go. Hashtag Rex Daily Download.
Right there.
Okay, you had another story. Speaking of administration and coaches.
Yes, it's been a really exciting past 6 months when we talk about director and head coach jobs being posted in collegiate. And the latest one is from Ole Miss. Everyone who's watched sports at the college level has heard of Ole Miss, University of Mississippi. They have just posted a director of esports position, and the salary listed is between $70,000 and $90,000 a year, which, if you are familiar with collegiate esports, know that is at the top of the line. That right now that's pushing that average salary upward, and that's really exciting, I think, for anyone in collegiate esports, and let alone another D1 supporting esports. I think that's another really exciting piece. When you look at the job description, one important differentiating piece of that compared to other director positions is it talks about developing or helping the academic side develop curriculum and explore the possibility of a minor or major in esports management. We haven't seen a ton of that at the D1 level, at least publicly. And I think that's a really exciting prospect. When I look at these new jobs being posted in the job descriptions, there's sometimes a piece of that job description that gets my attention and gets me excited. And the academic side was one that got me with this job description. Another example was when Arizona posted their position last July. They posted director of esports, University of Arizona, and they were the first ones at the D1 level to mention recruitment and being competitive versus just recreational goals and aspirations. So with these new job descriptions and every D1 that enters the space, there's some new excitement and new growth opportunity in collegiate esports that I get excited about. So keep an eye out.
And possibly new controversy. I think you pointed out a point before we aired about requiring a bachelor's degree.
Yes. This one actually requires a master's degree, is what it says, which is one of the newer, it's not as common in collegiate esports at this point. I think a lot of people get a little taken back by that because a lot of people who are qualified from an esports industry and experience perspective don't quite have the master's degree yet. But I think it's important for people to realize that this job includes consulting the academic side of the house. And when you talk about the academic side of the house, especially at a big Division I school, a master's degree is pretty common. So I'm not taken aback by it. It sounds, it makes perfect sense to me, but that also might eliminate some really qualified candidates who don't quite have their master's yet. So interesting, another point to notice on that job description. So
and a lot of places, like, this is where it's like, shoot your shot. Like, if you don't have it, go ahead and apply and try. But it makes sense that a college would require you to have some form of degree. That's their business.
Correct. Absolutely. I think it's pretty common for even if a master's degree is listed as required for people who don't have that master's yet to still get an interview. I think there's potential if you have a bachelor's degree and you want to work towards a master's while you're working at Ole Miss, I think there's an opportunity there to convey the want and desire to get that master's degree while working in that position. And sometimes there's that wiggle room, especially if you're a candidate with a great deal of experience or can convey the value you bring to the university.
Totally. I agree. And, I feel like college, and I could be wrong, maybe it's just me being in this world so much. It's like I feel like it's been around long enough that people have had the time to become experienced in esports and get their degree, or at least on the pathway to get their degree. So I think it is now a viable option for candidates where, 2-3 years ago, it might not have been. So now people can kind of have both.
I think so. I think there's some good qualified candidates who've been working at smaller schools and have worked on their masters while doing that at those smaller schools. Like when I was at Aquinas, I got my master's in management while working there. So especially with the average low salary, getting the degree at a discount, if not for free, is a really massive value proposition for coaches. So there are a couple coaches who picked that master's degree up or are working on finishing it up. So
yeah.
Very
exciting. All kinds of implications from that.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's it for college. I'm going to breeze through some of our other headlines that I think we should quickly talk about so that we can say we did. Activision shareholder is suing the publisher over the Microsoft acquisition. So from this one, it's his complaints about the planned sale to Microsoft. So unfair. And so they thought it was unfair for a number of reasons. And so trying to look at, is that something that's going to go through? Will they take the case? And there's not much detail on it yet, but I am curious to see, okay, this one shareholder is doing it, then are other shareholders going to follow suit? Or do they think, oh, actually it's in our favor? So it's interesting.
I feel like everyone tries to sue somebody. And it's not worth like really taking a bet or being taken aback by it until a court decides something that is worth noting. So the idea that I'm not familiar with the financials, but that it was unfair for numerous reasons. I thought the offer was well above what Activision Blizzard is currently worth. So it'd be difficult to argue that in court, in my opinion, but we'll see.
We'll see. Yeah. Next up, Mr. Beast joins LinkedIn. And so Mr. Beast also has a normie name, Jimmy Donaldson, will operate 2 LinkedIn pages, his personal profile, and he's going to share behind scenes glimpse on his content creation. And then it looks like maybe also Mr. Beast didn't list the other one. But what stands out to me and what I didn't realize about Mr. Jimmy Donaldson is he's 23. I know I shouldn't be shocked by that, but areas of his 23-year-old has experienced unprecedented success. And I am old. That's the headline. Melody is old.
I would not have guessed 23.
Right.
Holy cow. Oh, yeah, we're old.
Yeah. So congratulations to Mr. Beast for making it so young and doing great things with it. Good job, you. Anyways, One Esports enters media partnership with Mobalytics. I find this excellent because I love when esports programs put in some effort to do more than we'll just play the game and get better, because some of us need more than just that. I am a big fan of having, training and practice and all the other parts that other athletes do to get better. Esports athletes need to do as well. Adam, you've used Mobalytics. Can you kind of give us an overview of what it does?
Yeah, absolutely. So Mobalytics is there's probably a terminology to accurately describe it, but it basically presents you with real-time information from the game League of Legends and other Riot games like TFT, and offers recommendations on how to play the upcoming game or the game you're currently in. You can also look at your stats from previous games and see what you should be working on, whether it's farming, gold management, team fights, etc. It also shows you in-depth information on your opponents and what they're good at and what they're bad at. It's a really in-depth plug-in to the game League of Legends. We partnered with them at Aquinas College, and all my players used it. I'm a fan of it. Most of my players now, we're not partnering with them currently. Most of my players use different ones, such as like Porofessor is another one.
Like Poro.
Poro, yes. U.GG. I mean, there's a handful of these types of platforms. Mobalytics is one that's officially kind of supported and acknowledged by Riot. There's 3 of them. And that brings a lot of value, I think, to Mobalytics. And I've just enjoyed the company and working with the company in the past. And like I said, I use it. So whenever they're in the news, I think it's kind of cool.
Yeah, it's very exciting. I finally remember the word I was trying to call it, deliberate practice. So having deliberate practice and picking out exactly like, oh, I need to get better at taking down the tower.
Yes.
And so how can you practice to do that? So I love whenever these sponsorships and partnerships get announced, because it, to me, makes it a little more official, a little more organized, and people are just going to keep getting better.
For sure. Absolutely.
And that's it. This was a great daily download. Thank you, Adam, and for retelling your story after we messed it up. We being me somehow.
Nah, technology. It's Friday.
It's Friday. We're gonna try testing out going to not LinkedIn Live, to Twitter Live. Hopefully next week if I can figure it all out. So be watching for that, and have a great rest of your day. Adam, as always, thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.